Hey, welcome back, guys. We have a guest. We have Cory Roletto, and he is one of the co-founders of WEO Media. I heard I had the chance to hear you speak at a dental society meeting, the Snohomish County Dental Society, going to rep them. And I heard you speak a few weeks ago, and I loved it. And you're a Pacific Northwest person, or you just settled here? How'd that happen?
I grew up actually a little bit south of Seattle in Auburn, Washington.
Yeah, yeah.
And then went to the University of Washington for undergrad in chemical engineering.
Yeah, I saw that. That's crazy
Yeah.
that you end up in like kind of marketing
Marketing.
with a science background, which is probably a good thing. I don't know.
Yeah. I worked for Intel for over a decade.
Yeah.
And started off in the engineering side, then moved over to the development side, and then decided to get an MBA, moved over to the business side, and kind of worked in different marketing departments on the marketing side, and ended up on a competitive marketing team during my last tenure at Intel. And so that's how I got moved to what I call the dark side, which is marketing.
But how did you get into dental from that?
Yeah, so started a consulting firm and ran that. And then we ended up building on a platform to build websites, help conduct social media, and do SEO.
And that was early on with social media at that time. Like,
oh, yeah.
Are we talking like MySpace? Like, what's happening there?
Facebook was
I guess Facebook was still there, yeah.
But a lot of people were really confused of how to use it for business.
Yeah,
because they just thought it as a way of just connecting with old friends.
I don't even think I got on Facebook until like 2009 or 10. Like I was like a holdout. And then everyone was playing Farmville and all those. It was just
all the games from Sigma.
That was a nightmare. Correctly. Like people requesting things, so that I muted all those people. They're probably still muted on my Facebook. I don't know. But yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so you started way early on, and so you have a track record with the evolution of social media and how it's really like progressed as far as like even people get their news on it. Like it's pretty much encompassing so many things now.
Well, absolutely. It's a quick way to disseminate a lot of information. For
anything.
Good and for bad, right?
From dances, from news. Yeah. I mean, news, but depending on who you're watching, but it's everything, right? How to learn something, how to learn a recipe, how to learn how to grow your business, your brand, like everything you can think of. And now with all the AI incorporation, with everything, it's a wild west right now, I think, with all that stuff. Like, it's just so daunting just to figure out, like before it was just like, let's just get a website. We just need a website, right? That's how people think. Even now, I think a lot of people still think we just need a website, we're good. Is it that simple?
I would definitely say no.
SEO, search engine optimization, right?
Correct.
And there's SEO, like when I think of SEO, I think of like, let's just say for my YouTube account. Like I suck at SEO for YouTube. It's nice when there's people like you around that know a little bit more about that stuff and kind of break it down. Now, as far as SEO, like content, how do you guys manage that?
Yeah, so really when it comes to SEO today, there's a bunch of things you need to focus on. It's, the content, backlinks, reviews.
What's a backlink?
A backlink is a...
Pretend I don't know anything.
Yes, a backlink is a link from another website to your website. So think of it as if you support a local charity through your business and they put their logo on their website with a little blurb about your business, and then they link to your website. That's a backlink.
Okay. So I guess I do have a backlink on my website. My website goes to some instruments that I have to add it to another site. So maybe it's a backlink on their site to my site.
That would be a backlink to them if it's on your website pointing.
So that's what's called. So what does that do?
Backlinks is a tool that Google uses to determine how relevant you are for particular subjects. They figure that if another website links back to yours and references yours for information, there must be good information there.
You're right. So what I noticed with that backlink, now they know there's a word for that. If I Google myself, let's say, my name's not a normal name, I would say it's easy to Google. And so if I just type in Wahan or Dr. Wahan, I see those backlinks from other sites come up like really quick. You're right. So it's all tied in. Like they'll have pictures of instruments at another site. Mm-hmm. So that's what you're talking about. So that's how it works.
Yeah, and the most powerful backlinks when it comes to dentistry are going to be local links because you are a local business. You serve people in a certain radius or a certain zone around your office. And so those local links from other businesses are really powerful. Also, links coming from any site that is well represented or has what we call a high domain authority that's already ranking well itself and has a lot of good wealth of information. Their good backlinks would be coming from like news sources. So if you get a story written on you, you're on TV, you're in the newspaper, oftentimes they'll publish that online and have a backlink to you.
Yeah, so even like your local, say you're a local dental office and your local Gazette or whatever in your town has a little story on you and it's online. Mm-hmm. That all helps, right? If it's online like that and there's backlinks, that's all going to strengthen your brand and your business, right? Interesting. Okay, I didn't know that that was a term, and now that you mention it, like, yeah, I've seen that. That does happen. Mm-hmm. It does strengthen it.
Content I really see as something a bit different. So content, you can think of what is on your website, which is the text, the images, and the videos. And really when it comes to content for your website, we need to have unique content. And what I mean by unique is it shouldn't be found anywhere else on the web. It's the cookie cutter websites if you can go in, like you're saying, pick a template, and you check the little boxes of I want a web page on teeth whitening, and you check the box, and now you have
and they have their own not random, but they have their own graphics that they used in other websites. They're just the same graphic. They'll just throw on yours.
Yes, all that is duplicate content. Google doesn't give you much or any credit for it when it comes to ranking.
Yeah, and even social media now, they're cracking down on people that just repost other stuff to grow their account. So that's even coming into social media now. If you're just repurposing other people's stuff and just re-showing it, they're going to downgrade you in their algorithm.
Right, exactly. And so having it unique and of good length too, so it's relevant. A lot of times I'll see people will write their own content, but it might be only a couple hundred words, and that's just not beefy enough for Google to care.
Right. A dental office can call you guys if they just need help with their website. Say they just got one of those cookie cutter kind of websites. You look online, there's so many people that do this stuff. You go to Fiverr, I don't know, wherever you go, right? You guys, this is like your little niche now, like the dental kind of medical stuff. You know it. You've been doing it, 15, 16 years, right? Exactly. And you've seen the evolution of social media from Facebook and Farmville to, AI is what we are doing now, right? So it's nice. It's nice to know, because I don't know all this stuff. I'm learning as I go. So they can just call you and say, look at my website. And what do you guys do when you look at a website like that?
Yeah, we will do a full analysis of the website. If you have enough pages with unique content, photos, videos. The code of the website is really what the algorithms are looking at first when they're trying to determine what you want to be relevant for. So we're looking at making sure you have the right basic stuff like title tags, header tags, description tags. Make sure those are properly formatted, a lot of other meta descriptions. We also make sure you have schema code, and it's also called structured data.
Yeah.
And it's essentially a set of code that breaks down what's on a website, and you're telling it who you are, where you're located, what this web page is about in simplest form.
I don't even know any of that stuff. I mean, so that's good that you guys know what that is. I'm like website, cookie cutter template, basic SEO. That's all I got.
Yeah, one of the big questions I get on content is, with the rise of ChatGPT.
Everything like that.
Yeah,
AI stuff
like that. Can I use that to write my content?
Right.
And it was interesting because for years Google said, do it. We're testing for it. If we find out that it's AI, we're not going to give you credit, right? They flipped that script a few years back and said, what we really care about is it's good content. It's relevant. It helps educate or helps people find what they're looking for.
Well, Google uses AI. Like if you type something into my iPhone on Safari and then Google something, it'll have an AI thing at the top now that for a lot of things, right?
Yes, and that's where you're using your AI schema code to help you get in that.
I've been performing full arch dental implant surgery since 2012. I started back then with Nobel implants, and I continue to use them today. Getting consistent results over time and seeing these restorations in function over that length of time has basically strengthened my use of the product. There's over 100 implant systems out there. I just choose the one that's been the most consistent for me.
Whitespark puts out a good survey every year.
Whitespark?
Whitespark, yeah. Okay. And they tend to break down what they're seeing in the Google algorithm and what they believe the biggest ranking factors are. And reviews, specifically Google reviews for Google search, weighs in pretty good. So if you're doing a search in Google Maps, between Google Business page, Google Business profile, and reviews, they believe that's about 50% of the ranking factor.
Maps?
In Google Maps, right?
So if you're in Maps, but you have to be listed correctly, right? Like there's...
Well, you have to have a fully filled out Google Business profile.
Right.
Unique images, all your
If you don't really have all
selected.
that set up right, then that's not going to...
That's step one. That's over 30% of ranking in Maps, just having Google Business profile set up correct. And then reviews kick in another 16 or so percent into that ranking factor. The other 50% or so, all the things related to your website. So you still need a well-optimized website to rank in Maps in most cases, but reviews play a big role. When you get into the organic section below, if you're searching regular Google, you see the ads, and the next three are using the top three in Maps, that little, we call the local pack or the map section. Then below that, you have your organic, which is the next 10. That is more weighted to what you're in relation to your website.
Yeah, because when you search something, they do show like 3 of them in the Maps.
Yes.
Like you're saying the top 3 or whatever they think the top three are.
Maps will show up in a normal Google search.
Right. So ideally, if you want to get all this done, you want to try to get your web page on the top 3 in Maps.
Yes.
Like when they search for things.
Top 3 in Maps and then high as you can on organic as well.
Yeah.
And then it's possible to show up multiple times on page 1. What we're finding is that Google is making the most recent reviews, the most relevant reviews, because that's how people treat reviews. I think they're also doing it because if someone has been established for 10 years and has thousands of reviews, a new business has no chance of catching up. Right?
Interesting. They're trying to level the field on their own kind of like...
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, interesting.
So what we believe now is that anything over a year old, Google doesn't care. So, and really they're looking at the last 6 months, and ideally the newest, the better. So I no longer talk about how many reviews you have. I talk about how many reviews you're getting a month.
Right. What have you done for me lately kind of thing.
Exactly. And that's what people think is more relevant. I mean, when I go on, personally, I look at reviews, I don't care so much about a 4-year-old review.
I don't either.
Right.
Especially for restaurants. Like, I don't care. Exactly. Like, there's probably have a different chef by now. Who knows what?
Yeah, chef change.
Give me something the last week or two. I want to find out what's going on.
Companies are always trying to improve. So, the most relevant is probably the most recent, and Google's in tune with that. So we call it internally at Wheel Media, we call it review velocity. So what's the speed at which you're getting reviews? And that's looking at targeting at least 3 to 5 every month. And if you can get more, that's better. Mm-hmm. A lot of people have some consternation about using it on automatic because they're afraid of
the bad ones.
Review request for someone who's having a bad day, right?
Yeah, I get it.
And so my advice on that is instead of cherry picking just the people who you think will leave a good review, you can cherry pick the bad people out, or the people that are having the bad day out, not bad people. What you do is you go into the review software, you look that person's name up, and you check a little box that says do not send a review request. All right. Now you've cherry picked in reverse, you have all the benefit of the automatic sends, and you can limit your downside possibly of getting a bad review.
You were saying in your lecture that I saw a couple weeks ago, Google is like over 90% of reviews, right? Or on Google, like people use?
Yeah, so total search is about 90% for Google
search,
worldwide.
Okay. Yeah,
percent of reviews.
That's a ginormous search share.
Yeah. But they also have the majority of reviews now too. It's
right.
Forget the exact number. It's like 70-80% of all reviews are left.
That's crazy because I remember when like Angie's List was big, and then Yelp, and then I don't know who uses Bing, but what else is there? Ask Jeeves.
About 4% use Bing.
4%. Who's using Bing? Yeah, all those. I remember those like early on, and so you got to just basically try to get everything on Google.
Yeah, we always focus on Google because that's where the biggest volume is.
Right.
There's only really 3 that matter in the United States. Google, Bing's about 4% now, down from about 8% a year ago. So they've kind of really dropped off here recently. Yeah. Yahoo's dropped off too. They're less than 2%.
I feel like Yahoo is like a virus. I don't know how I got a Yahoo search thing on my laptop. I've literally only used it for podcasting, and then when I log in, it's like, or open it up, there's like a Yahoo search tab comes on. I'm like,
do you have McAfee antivirus?
I have some. I don't know. Yeah,
they ask you if you want to make your website search secure? If you click yes, it switches your search engine to Yahoo.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
And then I guess Facebook reviews, but those are different.
Yeah, Facebook reviews, most people don't think of that as a review site. And the reason why I usually recommend getting some reviews on Facebook is because if you do a search on Bing, star ranking number of reviews, they use Facebook. And then conversely,
Bing
on Yahoo,
uses
they
Facebook.
Bing uses Facebook. Yahoo uses Yelp. Google uses Google. So if you're going to cover the vast majority of search in the United States, having reviews on those three, so Google, obviously, Facebook and Yelp, you'll have the basis covered for all the search engines.
I can't believe they're like 80+% though. That's a lot. Yeah, now they have the maps integration, everything else, the reviews. It's all helping your website, it's helping you market your practice. I view marketing as part of my job. Like they don't really teach this in dental school or even med school. But, as a specialist, I depend mostly on referrals. And I can imagine as a general dentist, like you got a dental office and then like across the street, there's another dental office, like in another plaza somewhere, right? How do you stand out? Whatever you can do to stand out, like if someone has the choice to which dentist to go to and there's one on each side of the street, you need to do everything you can to get that patient flow in too, right? So it's a big deal for everyone. I'm finding more as I've been working now for 17 years. Most of the time we get referrals, but it's skewing a little bit by now that I'm working so long and I've built up some online stuff that people are finding me also in a greater percent on their own. So that's also marketing, right? So I just view it as part of my job. Like, I take teeth out, I do implants, I do whatever, and also I market, that's part of my job. And then, so moving on to like even like dental implants and things like that. What is CRM? Like
customer relationship management.
Okay.
It's a tool usually referred to as like a sales CRM. So like Salesforce, HubSpot, there's a lot of them out there. It's just a way to track and manage what we would call leads in the industry. As a dentist, you'd call it potential patients, right? But really when you get into uses of a CRM, they become very valuable when you're going after high-end procedures, especially from internet-related leads.
Oh, okay. Like veneers or all-on-X cases, full arch?
Veneers, all-on-X, Invisalign, dental implants, smile makeovers or facial reconstruction. The internet lead is very different. And when you get a lead from the internet, if people are searching, they're probably shopping around, right?
Yeah.
So there's more competition. They're talking to their offices, and people want to know they're getting the best value, right? So using a sales CRM to capture those incoming leads, have a systematized process for following up with them, both in automated fashion, maybe via text and email, being able to conduct phone calls through that sales CRM, be able to collect information through surveys, all that being captured and going through the systemized process of walking that person down so that they get into the office for that consult, follow up afterwards, and eventually accepting treatment. That can be a long process from an internet lead. And it's often lost if the normal procedure for an office is call them once or twice. If they don't respond, then nothing happens after that. What's nice about that sales CRM is that the doctor, the treatment coordinator, the front desk can all log in to that sales CRM and see what is happening real time with all of the potential patients that have been captured.
Google something, and then it says like at the top of my search, like sponsored ones, and then it has the actual one right under it. Like it's like a sponsored ad that they're probably doing, and then they actually have their regular one. Does it matter which one I click on if I go to the sponsored one or the not?
It might matter to the dental office because if you click on the sponsored one, they're paying money for that click.
I don't know. Something in my head is like, if I see two of them there and one says sponsored and it's the same office underneath that's their normal webpage, I generally just go to their normal one.
Well,
like, I don't know
me
why.
Too,
like in my head.
I want them to get charged for the click they're already going to get. But it actually brings up a good point in just general Google ads.
Yeah.
In dentistry, I generally recommend that you negative key term out your own name in your own office.
Okay. You got to explain
Meaning
that
again. That you don't show up when someone types in, Serv, Wahan.
Yeah, which is really easy to Google, but yes.
Right. That you don't want to pay for an ad to show up. So by negative key terming, say if someone does a search for my name or my practice name, do not fire the ad. Do not have that ad show up.
Why? Don't you want people to find you?
Well, with a name like yours, it's fairly unique. You're going to be the top listed person, right?
Right.
You don't want to pay for them to click through to your website when they're already looking for you, and that you'll be that first one.
So you want them to find you a different way?
I would rather
yeah.
rather spend the ad money on a search for dental implants and all on four.
I see what you mean. So
Right.
if you're paying someone to help you out and they're putting your name as part of the thing, that doesn't make a lot of sense, because if they're gonna Google you by name, they're probably gonna find you anyways.
Correct.
But if they're Googling you by like a procedure type, like All on X or something in Seattle, that's better.
Yes, because
Right.
they're searching with intent for a particular service that they want, and then you show up in the ads, and that's a good click, non-branded click.
So that's you're saying it's called negative key terming. You got to make sure that that's in there.
Yeah, when you're running Google Ads, negative key terming is one of the key factors that you definitely want to do. Because there's terms someone might just do a search for. I mean, there's different types of implants. Well, you only want to show up for dental implants, so you should probably negative key term out the other types of implants.
There's lots of other implants. You're right.
Right. And by building up that negative key term bank, you're improving your overall, overall ad. Likes that, you're working on it. When you do show up, you're going to get a better click-through rate, meaning that when you get an impression, which is just showing up, whether someone clicks or not on the page on a search, then the difference is when someone clicks on that, it's number of clicks divided by number of impressions is your click-through rate. Right?
Okay.
So your click-through rate goes up. Oftentimes you can get your price per click to go down, and you're spending money only on the more relevant searches. So when people do click, you're more likely to get a call, you're more likely to get an appointment request, you're more likely to get some sort of contact. So the type of conversion you're looking for to start that conversation is better. You just get
these are actual prospective patients.
Correct.
Coming in. Yeah, that's all very interesting. I didn't know anything about before I heard that when you said it a few weeks ago. I was like, well, I didn't even know that was a thing, and I understand how that works now better. Because if they're searching for my name, they're going to find it. But if they want a procedure type, also then that's better.
And if you have a practice management system that allows you to create a heat map
of where
this
is
patients
cool.
are.
You got to explain this real quick.
Yeah, so this is really cool. So I would check within your PMS if you are able to generate a heat map of your patients' locations. So you're going to have their addresses. This heat map will just show where you're drawing patients from. Oftentimes, we can gain a lot of knowledge from where your current patient base is coming. So
how do you do that from your website? Or no?
This would be directly in the practice management system. So some of them offer it where you can actually create that heat map. Like, here's where your patients are coming from.
And the heat map you can also do on your own website, right? Like a thermal, what people are, is that different? Like what people are hovering on, and like what are they looking at? So if you have a website with a few pages, you can go to a heat map or do a heat map of it and see what people are actually clicking on your website.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's different softwares that you can get to monitor the activity when someone comes to your website. We like to use one called Hotjar. And so it'll track mouse movements, it'll track clicks. And what we like to see when we're monitoring activity on a website is how are people interacting with it. The worst thing that can happen, or one of the worst things that can happen for SEO, is that someone comes to the website, realizes that there's not good information, or it's not the site they want to be on, and they click the back button. It's called a bounce.
Right.
So if your bounce rate is too high in Google, your ranking will go down. It's an
so if it's shown up as really red on the back button, you're like, ooh.
Yeah.
You got to figure something out.
So we want to see how people are interacting on the site, making sure once they get there, they're clicking on something, whether it's going to a page, watching a video, appointment request button, etc. But what's really interesting about when you create those heat maps for a website is you can determine what is most important to people when they get there. A lot of doctors will say, well, no one's ever going to all these service pages that are 1,000 words long. And I go, well, actually they do. Here's the proof. Here's the heat map. In fact, here's the ones they're looking at most, right? We can also show that, when people click where they click the most on a dental website is that your doctor bio page is generally the second most hits page on your website outside your homepage.
That is so interesting.
Yeah. So you think about the kind of the patient journey.
I hate writing those things. I have a funny story about the bio page. Real quick, When I first started working out of residency, I was working downtown, and the staff actually wrote the bio page for the surgeon in the office, and the surgeon never even looked at his bio page ever. And he would get patients every so often that would talk to him about bird watching and stuff, and he had no idea, like, why would these people just randomly bring up bird watching, here and there. It turns out in his bio, the staff had just made a huge joke and just said he's an avid bird watcher and all these things in there for years. Like, he had no idea. He never even read it. And so, yeah, but that's funny. Like, he was just like, why are people just randomly bringing up birds all the time? Like, for a year or two before he figured it out. But yeah, you were saying about the bio page.
That is a great point right there. So the second most hit on your page on your website. Yeah. And what I educate on is making that page more than just a CV, more than just your resume.
Right.
Because the patient's journey is, I'll go do a Google search. You rank high. I'll click on your ad, or I'll click on down below in the organic because you rank high. I look at your website. Wow, this is a beautiful site. It looks like it has all modern equipment. The staff seems all friendly. But one of the last things they do is they go to that doctor bio page. And yes, your education is important and years of experience and etc. But they're oftentimes looking for a reason to connect with you and choose you other dental offices over other doctors. So having something like bird watching, if that's what you enjoy doing, can help make that connection. And they may choose you because they feel like they may have a connection with you. So even though it was a joke, it may have actually gotten the office more patients because other people are bird watchers too. So like whenever I'm starting my presentation, I kind of use it as an example, right? I don't talk about just my years of experience in dental marketing and kind of my background. I talk about how, I had the opportunity to play baseball at the University of Washington. Great experience. That I played baseball every year, but 3 years since I've been 5 years old. 2 of those were because
I don't know how
COVID.
people play baseball in this Seattle area. It's raining up until like June. I can't imagine.
Talking more in depth about yourself as a doctor on that doctor bio page really helps make those connections and can be the difference between a patient picking up the phone and calling your office or not.
Yeah, and social media definitely has added a layer of approachability to that too, and just showing personal stuff in conjunction with clinical stuff. It's just a whole other separate thing, on top of that. And people now link their websites to their social media, and they, what's it called, backlink? But yeah, it's like it's all connected. It's like a web, right? Because I have multiple accounts. I have website, I have TikTok, YouTube, everything, you can think of, all linked to each other in different ways. And so like it creates this little web of things that over time, it's like a slow burn. That's how I view it.
It is. Yeah. And social media is one of those pieces that can have, it's interesting how different things interact with your website ranking.
Because that comes up in Google, like your social media posts, Threads, Instagram.
It definitely can.
Like
especially if they're searching to you by name. Yeah, absolutely.
It comes right up. Yep. It's there. It's like what do you call it? Digital herpes. Like it's all, once it's on the internet, it's there forever. You can't. It's hard to scrub.
Get rid of it.
It's hard to scrub off, good or bad. Yeah. So yeah, that makes sense. And you had mentioned before, like there's this website, schema.org or something, where you can actually like kind of review your own website and see what your deficiencies are, and and then call you guys to go, what do I do? What do I do here? It's blank.
We talked about schema or structured data a little bit earlier. That website in particular allows you just to test on whether you have it or not. And if you do have it, it'll show you what you have. Right. So it's a simple test, and I use it to just see if someone thought about doing the basics of SEO on your website. Because if you don't have schema, I can pretty much guarantee you have no SEO, active SEO.
So everyone, I'm going to put this up, and if yours looks terrible, call Cory and call WEO and get this straightened out. I think that was legit. I tried it on my own website, and it was like blank.
Yeah, I mean, you have no structured data.
But my website is also just one page, and so maybe but it's like they're always going the one page. Maybe I should make a couple pages. But yeah, that was interesting.
You're generally not going to rank very well with a one-page website these days.
True.
We were targeting 200 pages of unique content for our clients in Manhattan, for example, and that was just to rank in that borough. Very, very competitive, very dense population, a lot of doctors. But if you can get ranked in a place like Manhattan with millions of people, then the upside of that is huge, because the number of people is proportional number of searches that are done for a dentist or a procedure. Yeah,
if you're helping people out in a saturated area like that and it's working, that's saying a lot. But yeah, I wanted to thank you for coming on. You know, like I said, when I saw you speak a few weeks ago, I was like, this is good stuff. Have people come in to help out with that part. Like, that makes sense to me. And I just want to reiterate what I mentioned in the beginning. Whether you're a general dentist, periodontist, surgeon, or whatever, medical doctor, I consider marketing as part of my job. And I think that's kind of how you have to think about it. It's not something that's an afterthought, especially in this day and age with so many layers of what everyone else is doing, that if you're not doing the basics even, then, you know, you're gonna be missing out. You know, you're gonna be less efficient in a lot of ways. And so that's why, if you just think about it as part of your job, and if you don't know that part of your job, there's people like you guys that definitely know that part.
Can definitely help.
Yeah. So I really want to thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me out, Serv. It was a great opportunity. Just honored to be invited onto your show.
Oh yeah, no, it's fun. Like, I'm having fun with this. This has been a creative outlet for me, and I have so many more questions. Maybe we'll have a follow-up one after this one, but I'll get all the questions and comments from people, and we'll figure it out. Yeah. But thanks again, Cory. I appreciate it.
No, thank you.
All right.
Have a great day.